So here's another how-to because I couldn't find a video anywhere on Google or YouTube to simply remove the blower cover on my Troy-Bilt rider with a Briggs Stratton engine. It's a 17.5 horsepower mower that I bought from Lowe's. So finding the right engine number was impossible. But here it is, 31R907 space 0053 space G1, and it falls under a 310000 model engine. Most blower covers are going to be easy to remove, as was this one, but technically it was a pain in the fanny, so I figured it out. I'm going to share it with you. This is what my rider looks like. It's a 42-inch cut, Troy-Bilt. First thing to do when you are doing regular annual maintenance is lift up that seat at the rear and remove the negative terminal from the battery, because you don't want to touch a wrench to a live starter nut or any other live thing going on under the hood. And the hood is the next thing that should be opened up. To remove the blower cover, you're going to need to lift the bracket that your fuel bottle is mounted to. Now, I have already removed the fuel filter, the air filter. I drained the oil. There's no filter in this model, by the way, so if you look for one and it's not there, it's because it's not supposed to be there. I also removed the spark plug, but I figured I'd better look under the blower cover because I saw what looked to be lint or cotton looking stuff at the top of the starter, so I figured I'd better see if mice got under the blower cover. The yard machine is parked outside in the shed, so mice can easily get under the nice warm cover and build their nests. About 90% of the time, your blower motor cover is going to have mice nesting under it. So as part of the annual maintenance, pull the cover. Now, there are two bolts on either side of the gas tank or bottle bracket. If you follow the bracket down below the bottle, you're going to see on the left and right side two bolts. These bolts, they use the TORX Torx drill bit to remove all four bolts, two on this side, two on the other side. And this is what the T25 drill bit looks like. Torx drill bit, S2 T25 is what mine reads like. So that's the size you need to remove those bolts. I use a portable drill for torque to remove the four bolts. There's my T25 drill bit, and I'm ready to take those four bolts out, and they zip right out real quick. Once those bolts are out, lift the left side of the bracket first, that is the gas bottle it sits on. Lift that side of the bracket. Lift it above the bolt head that you see here. I've already backed it out somewhat, but you can't get it out without lifting that bracket up. So it's the only way the bolt will clear the bracket. Back the bolts out, one on each side of the blower cover at the rear, using a 3/8 inch socket wrench or a 10mm socket. So you can use an open end wrench, a 3/8 socket, or a 10mm socket. This is my 1/4 inch socket wrench with a 3/8 or 10mm socket on it. No extensions, because if you put an extension on it, you have no clearance to back the bolts out. This view is the front of the engine. Here's the two bolts that's in the front, and it's right near where you find your serial number. And you want all 12 numbers, I think it is. Anyway, I gave you my engine number. But those two bolts you see need to be backed out. They're also the 3/8 inch or 10mm socket. So back them out and then keep them separate from the two longer bolts that you took out of the fuel bottle bracket in the rear. No sense trying to remember which bolts go where, so just know that the shorter ones will go back here in the front. Now lift the cover up. You may also find one black push pin in the corner on the left side of the engine where the fuel line is. So if you do, just pop it out with a flathead screwdriver. Now, looking under your cover, you may very likely see a little or maybe a lot of this mouse nesting material. So you want to pull it out of there and then use a vacuum to pull the rest of the stuff out of every nook and cranny, which you'll see they're all full of this stuff. This took me about 10 minutes to clear it all out. One YouTuber who is in the repair business, he found when he pulled the blower cover off, lots of mice nesting under the blower cover. He also found this picture right here, which I borrowed from his YouTube channel, that the mice had chewed halfway through the coil. That's the coil wire that goes down to the spark plug. So this is another reason to always check under the blower housing every year. Can you imagine if the mouse nesting caught fire and smoldered for a while, but you didn't know it, and you left the mower out in the shed? Poof, no shed. Also, with a chewed wire, the mower would likely skip like a bad spark plug would cause. So with that all done and cleaned out, the blower cover put back on with the 4 bolts, 2 front, 2 rear, and the fuel tank bracket bolted up, the one last thing I did is I bought, along with my tune-up kit consisting of a fuel filter, the oil, the plug, was this extension hose. I bought it from Amazon because the tractor comes with a straight plug where you see that brass fitting going into the engine, a little short straight plug, which is stupid because you have to pull that plug out. Now, you see that little black bar there? That's a steering bar. And when you pull that plug out, it's tough because the oil's going to come crashing out of there unless you develop something. At first I made like a pipe that fit underneath that, but the oil still spilled out all over the place. So to save that aggravation and have a nice clean oil change every year, you might want to buy the drain oil hose from Amazon. Here's what the Amazon oil drain hose looks like in case you want to buy it. The part number is there as well. I think it's 14 bucks or so. I also bought it because filling the oil tank is a hit and miss proposition. So if I overfill the reservoir, I can just remove the end plug on this drain hose and drain as much oil as I need to get the thing balanced correctly. And each year it's just going to be easy. Remove that bolt at the end there on the right hand side and just aim the hose into a little bucket. So if you want to learn how to do things, then subscribe to my channel. I only make these how-tos when I can't find solutions and when I solve my problem. When I do, I share it here to make your life easier too. So visit me at jtylermusic and on YouTube. And if you like country music and other songs, some Elvis songs, whatever, then come on over and stick around for a while. Thanks.